So before we can start this one, I need you to know something. There are spoilers for Flash Season 4, like the entire season. It's kind of a subplot in the cliffhanger. Okay, is that good? Then let's talk about this. Nora Allen II, the daughter of Barry and Iris that we discovered at the end of Season 4, and it opens up so many possible storylines for this character to be a part of. But it also opens up the doors for what I'm excited about, a Flashpoint 2.0. You know, this time they can get it right and do it for longer than a single episode or 3 episodes. I forget how long it was, but it was short. And this time we can get a Flashpoint where we don't know where it's going because we're only seeing the altered timeline. You can have huge reveals to the way things were supposed to be and how the character's reacting. This is something that could span the entire season and could even create our new villain who will hopefully not be Savitar 2.0, the daughter in the Transformers suit. That's what I don't want. Okay, so to start this up, let's look at how she has interacted with Team Flash, because she was a running mystery for quite a few episodes. First, she showed up at the wedding to tell Barry to say I do. Second, she was at Jitters where she bought Ralph and Cisco drinks. Then she met up with Harrison and Caitlin spilling a drink. And then lastly, she showed up to tell Cecile the due date of her baby and then sped off. This is all before the big finale in which we watched what would be the end of Barry Allen. Except Flashpoint 2.0 officially hits the spot. Big bolts of lightning and Nora runs in behind Barry, helping him punch the satellite so hard that it shattered. And then she shows up saying that she thinks she broke time and made a mistake. Oh yeah, and that she's his daughter. Boom! Cliffhanger! Season 5. Now, keep in mind, at the time of this video, we have zero information on Season 5. Yes, I know we have some casting leaks and a general idea of what the villain's going to be, and I'll throw out those videos later. But I'm going to assume that this season will be Nora explaining what it was like in her timeline and how she broke it. She'll probably explain what she's fixing, which leads me to the obvious reason that she came back. Barry Allen must have died saving the city right there and then. Nora came back in time to prevent that from happening. Now you might be asking yourself, well, Iris isn't pregnant, how is that possible? She's not pregnant as far as we know. Just because it wasn't revealed doesn't mean it's not a possible thing. Pregnancy isn't something that instantaneously happens. I've watched that show on TLC, those women that didn't know they were pregnant and got to 8 months. It also leads me to the most obvious plot that they're going to lift elements out of. Young Justice. That's right, one of the best superhero cartoons ever has a very similar plot. It's called Bloodlines. Now in this story, Bart Allen is the character who comes back in time, not Nora Allen II. In this storyline, Bart shows up at Mount Justice and basically causes problems, which is kind of Bart's MO. He quickly explains that he's from the future and he's the grandson of the Flash, though no one believes him. Nightwing gets his DNA by giving him a glass of water, and he spoils everyone's secret identities from Tim to Guard to Dick, which basically proves he's in fact from the future. We then go down some usual TV paths and go with a subplot involving Arsenal, and we get to see the Flash family at a party. You see, everyone is celebrating Jay and Joan Garrick's 70th wedding anniversary when Barry gets a call warning him. Yo bro, you got a time-traveling grandson running around. Also, he's kind of annoying. I imagine that's how they talk to each other on the phone. Bart then shows up and runs around hugging everyone, and Barry stops them. That's right, this is one of the plot points that I feel is going to pop up in the season premiere of Season 6. Barry says, I don't believe you're my grandson. I don't even have kids. And Iris stops him, telling him she's in fact pregnant. So if we replace you aren't my grandson with you aren't my daughter, boom, this works. Iris goes, I was gonna tell you tomorrow, but I've discovered this morning that I was pregnant. Now in the comics, Iris gives birth to the twins in one of the timelines. They go by the name the Tornado Twins, and we're gonna talk more about them towards the end of this video. But at least in Young Justice, they basically confirm that those are the kids when Bart says hello to his unborn dad and his aunt Dawn. Now, this is where it all seemingly follows the general idea of what just happened in the CW show. Iris gets a call, and knowing that Barry is supposed to die in this mission, Bart tries to prevent her from answering it. It doesn't work, and the Flash is on the case, running off. But Bart then doesn't tell him that he is supposed to die, like it would have mattered anyway. He's Barry goddamn Allen. He would have run off and tried to save anyone anyway. Bart, Flash, and Kid Flash all run over to battle against Neutron, this new villain. Flash and Bart then decide to run in circles around Neutron, creating a funnel. And that's when we discover that Bart is as fast, or at least close to as fast, as Barry when they both leave Wally in the dust. Their plan kind of works, which seems to only get rid of the protection that Neutron has to control his powers, which then leads to the final plan, to run the massively exploding Neutron out to the desert ASAP. Flash begins to run in, and then Bart joins him, and then Bart ends up tripping the Flash, and they both fall. Neutron explodes early, which would have been the death of Barry Allen, and Bart prevented it from happening. He also helped Neutron by clearing his powers so that he wouldn't hurt anyone after that explosion, but it's a very minor subplot. Sound familiar? Almost like the season finale to a certain episode of the Flash CW TV show? The only major difference here is how Barry was going to die, and the fact that Nora revealed herself after saving him instead of before. Ultimately, though, in the Young Justice universe, Bart came back to save Neutron and save Barry Allen, but he also came back to prevent Blue Beetle from turning into a bad guy and causing an apocalypse with Reach, an alien race. Now, I really doubt CW would 1. Introduce Blue Beetle and Reach, and then 2. Completely lift the entire Young Justice plot. I think they probably saw why Bart was introduced and thought it would be a fun concept to kind of initiate their Flashpoint 2.0, which is why the Nora Allen stuff didn't take up a whole episode, because if it did, honestly, they would be 100% taking the Bart Allen plot. If they recreated an entire Young Justice episode, well, I think we would have a lot of angry fans. But just doing a couple of minutes towards the end of the episode, personally, I feel that's fine. And I like the way they did that. This whole concept of the child coming from the future is a fun concept, and this is a cool way to do it. But I can already see the fingers of you angry fans going off. How dare CW remove Bart Allen from his Young Justice story and give us this character that they made up? Apparently you guys all have a very bad British accent. Let me stop you right there though, hot stuff. That's not exactly what they did. 1, we already had Wally West's character get ruined by Ralph Digby. Instead of having a true Kid Flash learning from his mentor and proving himself moment, he ran off to another show. Since we had a Kid Flash character, don't you think the CW would have gotten a lot of backlash if they removed Kid Flash to give us what is essentially another Kid Flash? I've already exclaimed my disappointment in CW's idea to constantly expand the cast to the points where the characters are getting badly written as they have no true room to grow. So adding in another Kid Flash with Bart Allen wouldn't really work. We would just have 2 Kid Flashes. Even in the comics, when all of the Flash family gets together, it's more of a special event and less of a let's have them all kind of a thing. Bart mostly gets thrown onto a team like the Teen Titans and doesn't mess too much with the family until there's a need for the entire Flash family. Sounds a lot like what they did with Kid Flash already in the Legends of Tomorrow, doesn't it? Or, I have a theory, what if Nora and Bart both came back to be a tourist in the past, and Bart decided to save Barry, and Nora's big mistake was coming back in time with her idiot brother who has now changed the timeline. I doubt that's it for the exact reasons why I don't think we should have Bart Allen, but hey, it's a theory! A film theory. Oh, wait, that's probably copyrighted. A non-copyrighted television show theory from Comicstorian. And there's also one more theory that could work with this. What if it's Dawn? I'll get to that in a second. Now, I do want you guys to know, CW also didn't invent Nora Allen II, I think. Nora Allen II was introduced in Justice League Rebirth, a storyline that was introduced in October of 2017. Nora Allen II for the television show was introduced during The Wedding back in Arrowverse, back in about November 2017. Now, this could be a weird coincidence, or this could be CW stating that they were going to make her, so they had to write her into the comic books. I don't know, and I doubt we ever will, but the fact is Brian Hitch created the character of Nora Allen for his storyline, as far as I know. Now, that storyline involves the children of the Justice League all coming back in time, and Nora Allen was the daughter of Barry Allen, and shocker, Jessica Cruz, the Green Lantern. Yes, I know I just said Nora Allen is not the daughter of Iris in the comics, but anybody who was reading The Flash during that period and the Justice League book will tell you that Brian Hitch wanted this whole Jessica Cruz Barry thing to be a literal thing, but nowhere else in the comic book universe was this even reflected. At this time in the comic book universe, Barry was trying to prove himself to Iris West again because she was not trusting him at the time. Anyway, she comes back to see her parents, and we get to see the rest of the kids, all of which are pretty cool in my opinion. I liked a lot of the designs and their versions of their parents' powers, but they have not come back to prevent a death, but to prevent the end of the entire world at the hands of a big bad villain. I have a video on the channel that you can watch the whole thing, but at the end, Nora Allen returns to her future, most likely to probably be never heard from again. So there you have it. Who Nora Allen is in the comics, what plot she's probably lifted from, and overall, I think that this could be a fun and interesting plot for the new season of The Flash. It would allow us to explore a new speedster and Speed Force powers, but also give us a fun non-speedster villain, which is what the casting call basically states. But before we can go, I wanted to let you know that there are other children that The Flash has had in comics. I mentioned them earlier, the Tornado Twins. Dawn and Don. It's Dawn, D-A-W-N, and Don, D-O-N. So if I make them sound similar, I apologize. Now, unlike Bruce Wayne and Clark Kent, Barry has only ever really been shown to have these 2 kids. They really don't have any insane plots or anything along those lines. That's more Wally West's kids that become somewhat important to his story because Dawn and Don were introduced after Barry Allen had already died in the Crisis on Infinite Earths. They did recently pop back up when Thawne was showing Barry his future, in which he ignored his kids and they became evil little brats because of it. And originally, in an Entertainment Weekly article, they said that the people were going to figure out who she was quickly. And that's why they didn't name her Dawn, because they wanted to put their own spin on it by naming her Nora Allen. So let's take that comment for a moment. It makes you think. If they originally were intending it to be something similar to Dawn, and she had a twin, I mean, it doesn't mean that it has to be Don or Bart, but it could still work that she didn't come back alone, that she still has a twin brother or twin sister who's come back to mess up the timeline because reasons. And that's it. Those are my theories and ideas on Nora Allen II. What do you think? Also, before I go, I want to leave you with this thought right here. Supernatural's still the best show on CW.